Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sinar Daily's Sports Matter podcast. My name is Ashwin, and I have my co-host here, Qodeem.
Yes.
And today we welcome none other than senior journalist and sports expert Arnaz M. Khairul. Yeah, and welcome, gentlemen.
Yes.
Today we would like to delve into quite a hot topic where Malaysia has forego the 2026 Commonwealth Games privilege of hosting it. So there's a lot of question lingering among the sports critics and also the rakyat, whether we missed the chance or that was a good decision. Perhaps it was a good decision, we don't know. So we have Khairul, we have Arnaz here to share some of his thoughts. And before that, let's warm up a bit.
Yep.
I think we had quite a mixed
Perception.
emotions for the past 2 weeks when it comes to Malaysian sports.
Yep.
One side we have Harimau Malaya, and following the loss versus Oman, and the repercussion is still going on until today,
Exactly.
and it's never ending. And on the other hand, we have Siva Shangri created a history, and on her way to the final, she even defeated world number 1. So maybe Arnaz, can you share a bit about the 2 weeks up and down in Malaysian sports?
I mean, as far as the football is concerned, were you actually expecting a different result?
I was there watching live, but oh my god, yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, were you actually expecting a different result? Were you thinking Malaysia were going to beat Oman?
I expected them to score a goal at least.
I feel like
Since we did that against South Korea, yeah.
But then you must take into account the game against South Korea was the final group match. Malaysia were already out.
Yeah, nothing to lose.
South Korea were already through.
Yeah.
They didn't have to risk anything.
Yeah.
So that game was probably less relevance than the World Cup qualifier against Oman.
Yeah. And South Korea was in turmoil, right? Having some issues with Jurgen Klinsmann. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the true disparity between the two nations was quite clear lah. Even from the first leg, you could see we were actually outclassed by Oman. Their players were on a much higher level.
Yeah, I think the last 20 minutes they were toying with our defense.
So you could see the disparity was quite clear. We were basically in a different. They were actually in a different league.
but our football is actually not bad. Like in terms of skills, in terms of it's just I feel like the position, the way how I guess the coach.
I didn't see that. I saw quite a big gap in the level of the two teams. So it was a fair result. In the end, it was a fair result.
Yeah, I remember when I wrote a post-match analysis on it. A friend of mine, he actually said, "Come on, man, give some credit to Oman. They did well."
Yeah,
he's right. He's right. Yeah.
You should look at it that way. It was quite clear. It was quite clear. There was quite a gulf in standard, despite our players coming from.
All over the world.
From all over the world, and all this, but
they don't have a foreign player in their team, Oman. As far as I'm concerned, no.
I think they used to have one guy.
Used to have.
No, but they don't need to. I think their level was, and they've been knocking on World Cup qualification for the past 2 decades since the 90s. They were almost there, but didn't make it. Almost there, didn't make it. Oman and Bahrain about.
I see.
They were there or thereabouts, but just didn't make it to the World Cup. Probably this time they would be. They would be one of the favorites to make it.
There were some comments in social media. Not only comments, there's already news report about it. Was the pitch anything to do with the performance?
Of course, but then the pitch affects both teams. But to be the pitch is another different story. It's a national disgrace. I said it's a national disgrace because all the millions we
spend,
allocated,
right?
all the resources at their disposal, they They can't deliver a simple football pitch, you know, and time again. You know, our biggest, you know, the Malaysia Cup final last year. Malaysia Cup final is our biggest local football spectacle.
Right.
It's part of our heritage. It's what our football looks forward to every year. The Malaysia Cup final, and in that match, you have a pitch which is just being dug up all over the place, and
this is not the first time PSM being scrutinized.
You can't say that's. I don't know what the excuse is now. You know,
But what's kind of like differentiate between now and I guess previous football, I guess team, right? But let's just say in terms of like JDT, would you say JDT is in terms of performance better than the Malaysian national teams, or because I feel like a lot of people are kind of comparing these two.
no, you can't compare these two. That is a club. This is the national team. You know?
Yeah.
But
there's something that it's almost like Manchester United in England those days.
Yeah,
Half of the Manchester United play, or most of the Manchester United play, will represent England.
exactly.
And these JDT players, but of course now we have these naturalized players and everything. Yeah. But yeah, the expectation is high. But are we doing better than those days?
Yeah.
Harimau Malaya?
That's the question.
no, you have to look at it objectively. You can't go around patting our giving
Pass.
our own shoulders a pat. But you look at it objectively, you see why did we qualify for the Asian Cup? We made it after at the second attempt after the Asian Cup was expanded from 16 teams to 24 teams. You know, so previously it was hard to make it
To the top,
among the top 16 nations to qualify for the Asian Cup. Okay, so they expanded it by another 8 by another 8 teams. So we
made it.
That actually
Helped.
helped us make it. If it was still 16 teams, I'm not sure if we would even come close to qualifying. You know?
Fair enough. Yeah.
So basically the standard of our football, like, you know, it probably more or less the same as before. Probably the ranking has moved up a bit higher because right now FAM is focusing on climbing up the rankings, looking for friendly matches and all this.
I see. Yeah.
Previously we were stuck at 145,
Yeah,
150
Right.
for a long time, and at that time FAM always said ranking is not important.
It's nothing. Yeah.
It's not
yeah.
important.
Yeah.
It's not.
Khalid Jamlo's days. I guess.
To be honest, our football is not. It's probably improved a bit. The level of the team probably improved a bit with better players. No, I mean like Dion Cools and the midfield like Stuart Wilkie, all these guys, even Matthew Davis on the right back. I think Matthew Davis is probably one of the best right back we ever had.
Yeah. Technically gifted players.
So we have better players, but the level is still there. I don't think we should be even dreaming of qualifying for the World Cup with this team.
Practicality.
But like we spend so much though, right?
Yeah. Whether you like it or not,
Right?
the DNA of being a football fan in our country is cannot take out of it. So they have to spend. But yeah, the result is not good.
I mean, fans will be fans. They always want to back. Of course, it's my country. I want my country.
Yeah, of course.
And now everyone is knowledgeable about football. It's no more, only football fans know about football.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody's
The more worrying part is the pitch. You know?
Yeah.
You know, you can't bloody deliver a simple football pitch.
Yeah.
That is even more worrying. All these guys in suits, all these experts, you know,
yeah, exactly.
with millions of ringgit at their disposal.
Coach from
They
Korea too.
can't even deliver a simple football pitch.
Yeah.
You know, this is
That should be the priority.
This is hilarious. No, it doesn't have to be a priority. It should be a given. You know, you have a football stadium. The main the main purpose of it is to host football matches.
Yeah.
And your football pitch is a disgrace.
Yeah. National
Yeah,
Stadium.
true.
Yeah.
You compare that. You talk about JDT. Why does JDT have such a beautiful football pitch?
Yeah.
It's not even rocket science.
It's true.
It's because all the groundsmen there, all of them, the whole team working there, get to do a good job and
Yeah.
and produce
A
the
good
results
pitch.
because their focus and priority is only on the football pitch, and it's the purpose is only for football. When you
Right.
bring it to the PSM,
Yeah.
you have all these men in suits, all
Yeah.
these politicians who probably they have to pretend to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So they and but when the objective of delivering a simple football pitch is put on the table, it's not like the JDT meeting room where okay,
Right.
we need the football pitch, okay, this is what we need to do, okay, we just go ahead and do this, just this, you know. When it comes to these men in suits at PSM, you get all sorts of this it gets diluted, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have this concerts booked until for the next 10 years, and
Yeah.
okay, we need to do this, that. Okay, then another guy comes in. Okay, I'm the grass expert.
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Okay, so I know what I'm doing. Blah, blah. In the end,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bad. They
Secure a contract and ruin it.
uh,
Yeah.
so that's the difference. If the government really wants to be professional about it, then I think the issue will be solved.
That's the bottom line. Yeah, and quick
Right.
one on Shiva Shangri.
Yeah,
China.
I mean she's good, but don't hold your horses. She's just
Chill,
she's
chill
only
first.
she's only won one tournament. You know, she's
Right.
still a long way from matching
Yeah,
people. You know?
yeah.
So, but it's good to have someone after all these years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want another
Like a new
Young
person,
effect.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, hold your horses. Give her time. Let her. We don't need ministers suddenly calling her for coffee and having selfies with her and needing her to show up at
Every event, right?
So relax. Let her grow. Give her time. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially the politicians. They should remember this. Just chill.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Hopefully,
Yeah,
the government will take that as an
Right,
advice.
talking about chill, right?
Okay, we can finally delve into our topic. Commonwealth. Arnaz, what actually happened from the beginning?
What?
Commonwealth.
The Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
Well, you see, it was quite clear from 2 or 3 years ago that actually for the past 2 decades, you know, the Commonwealth Games has lost its
Value.
value, and it has
It's
it's losing interest. It's got no global appeal to begin with, you know.
Yeah,
So
true.
for the 2026 games, if you just look at the news, even the announcement of the winning bid to host, which was supposed to be in Rwanda,
Yeah.
was cancelled
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there were no bids. There was only Victoria.
Wow.
You know, so people are not interested in it. You know, it's basically dying. You know, I can tell you when was the games in Glasgow. Glasgow was
Yeah.
20
Recall 20.
a few years back.
Yeah.
The Glasgow edition. While the Commonwealth Games was going on in Glasgow, I had an assignment for a motorsport assignment in London during that the Commonwealth Games was going on, you know. And I went to London. In London itself, basically the same country, there's no hype about the
Yeah,
Commonwealth
right.
Games. You know, even
Exactly.
they're not interested.
Even like my generation, like
Even you look at the last 2 or 3 Commonwealth Games, it was just in our media because we had athletes competing
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
probably winning a few medals. That's about it. It's lost. It is not the same level as even the Asian Games has more
Better, yeah.
has more
Better
traction
engagement.
than that.
yeah.
And then you look at it. Why should, if Victoria pulled out of it, you know, and they stated clearly that there's no point in hosting it. You know, they're basically telling you that there's no point in hosting it. There's no You're going to be spending all this money
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
guarantee of returns.
Yeah.
You know, so the red flags are already there. And why should Malaysia suddenly step in to
Yeah.
save it?
Right.
The moment our country's name is being mentioned,
Yeah.
do you think stakeholders or ministers, government, were they prepared? Or were they ready to react?
I think they were ready to spend money. That's all.
Oh my God. Okay.
To host the games, I mean, we just spoke about a football pitch.
Yeah.
This is a government who can't even deliver a simple football pitch, and you're talking about hosting the Commonwealth Games. Do you think that's right? There's
Right.
there's not something wrong there.
Yeah.
So I mean, on top of that, it's losing its. People are losing interest in it. You know, you look at the Commonwealth. It's made up of countries in a better economic situation than us.
Yeah.
You look
Yeah.
at South Africa. Look at Canada. There's New Zealand. There's even countries like Malta.
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
who else? Even rising African economies like Rwanda.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
all this and now newly rich Guyana.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are all these countries not interested?
Let's say something, right?
Let's say something
Yeah.
about it.
Qodeem,
Yeah.
how was the reaction in the social media, especially youngsters, especially young?
Yeah. I feel like talking about our generation, right? We don't really. That's the thing about when you say about the excitement of the Commonwealth. For us, like not saying me, but saying to other, like my generation, we don't really kind of get that attention anymore with the Commonwealth because we get more attention to SEA Games, right? To Olympics. We don't really look at so when the news came out, we just like, oh, okay. We don't really because of the, I guess the excitement and attraction of Commonwealth don't really has the hype anymore that cater the younger audience, you know. That's what happened with what you were saying. It's like they lost the golden spoon, right? The golden spoons of that attraction. And in terms of, I guess, even we're saying about athletes, we don't really focusing on going Commonwealth, right? More focusing on, let's go in the next SEA Game because I have friends that are going for Olympics, that are going for SEA Games. They're not really talking about like Commonwealth because of the hype, or maybe because of the people that the athletes that are inside there really not, I guess, you know, the not say like good, but maybe like not as competitive as in Olympics, as in SEA Games, right? Even somehow even SEA Games, like within Asia Pacific, that's even more competitive than, I guess, feeling more competitive to win than the Commonwealth.
I see.
So like then kind of because of that, the reaction is not really, you know, not really crazy because we were like expecting like our brother said, like well, we can't really hold a pitch. How can we kind of like how can we expect Commonwealth to
we go back to how we hosted the Commonwealth Games in 1998. That was a different situation.
Yeah.
You know, when we bid for the 98 games, which was in 1992, the country was booming. We were at the peak of our
Development.
economic development. We were starting to bring in all these mega events from there.
That was during Mahathir.
We started the idea to bring in F1. We already hosted MotoGP, you know, at that time, and then we had the powerboat F1, and we started to bring in all these international events. We kicked off the Tour di Langkawi, and all these. What else? That were
The irony is, the sporting events that you mentioned, so most of it has died off.
Yeah.
In our country, or dying.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just
I
like
mean, like I said, at that time, we had the drive to bring it because our country was a rising economic power, and we had the means. No, we were basically rich at that time.
Correct.
So the ringgit was
booming, right? It was a 3 ringgit,
two
right?
and a half ringgit
Mhm,
to a US dollar
Dollar.
at that time.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing.
so we were bidding. We wanted to bring in all the international events and introduce the country to the world. That was a different
Era.
era altogether.
Mm.
Right now is not
On the
a
recovery mode.
it's not a good time to
Yeah.
do it, and it sends it, as you can see in social media, it even sent a lot of bad signals to the people, you know.
So Janas, if let's say there's a difference in phase,
Yeah.
Malaysia 1998 they were in different phase,
Yeah.
1992 onwards I
Yeah.
mean,
Mm.
and now we are in different phase.
Yeah.
Mm.
What should be done then?
I mean, right now, you look at who hosts all these international events, even the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
When it goes to, you see, Los Angeles, the next Olympic after Paris,
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
even Paris, it's Paris who bid for the
Mhm,
Olympic,
yeah.
not the
No
French
one,
government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same with Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for us, we need to gather the whole
Country.
country to
Mm-hmm.
back it, which is, I think, shows that we are already behind. You know, this is not a game where we are fit to play.
But like,
No, we should
Mm.
focus more on competing in those events.
Yeah.
You know?
but like, what's the step though? Like, what's the step to kind of gain back? I guess the
The
glory days. Like,
Which glory days are you talking about? When did we ever have glory in?
in terms of, like, you know, competition, you know, every international competition that is in Malaysia going booming, like, you know.
I mean, you look at Kenya, Jamaica, countries who have more than 50, 60
Yeah.
gold Olympic gold medals without ever hosting.
Okay. We have a new topic there. Yeah.
Yeah, true,
Yeah.
true.
Significant international event.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
So, I mean, do we need to host international events right now
Yeah.
or for the next 10 years?
Yeah. How about winning medals?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
True.
more so, you know, we should focus on reforms to put everything in order, you know.
That's a yes.
You know, when I say put everything in order, means the government is already detracted from what it is supposed to do by so far. You know, that right now the government is getting involved in running programs,
Yeah.
organizing events.
Yeah.
You know, when you do this, it's not that it's not good. It's good that we have these events, but
Yeah.
when it's the government doing it, it takes away the industry. You know, it takes away the competitiveness from the industry. Nobody else. You don't. Let's say you look at development programs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the elite program is all fully funded by the
Yeah.
government. Athletes are contracted to the government, and right now, do you see those competing for Olympic gold medals from any country? Most of the countries. Do you go and do your own research? You see, are all of these athletes contracted to a government program? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Probably the Chinese, which is a communist country, of course. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
So, or
Really?
and the Vietnamese, which is
Yeah.
also still
Yeah.
technically a communist country.
Government controlled. Yeah.
You know, the whole world has moved forward. You know, the whole world has moved forward. They've advanced. They've grown their sports industry. It's all based on competitiveness. You know, you don't create monopolies,
Yeah.
which is what has become of our sports with government involvement.
Okay.
You know, over the past 20-30 years, this is where what the government needs to focus on. Get back to doing what they're supposed to do, being a support system to sports.
That's true.
Yeah. Be the motivator.
Be the motivator.
Yeah.
We need facilities.
Yeah.
You build the facilities.
Yes,
You
yeah.
build the infrastructure
Yeah,
to grow
yeah.
our sports. You know,
Yeah.
not you build and you put your family and cronies in charge of these facilities and and you make sure this is the only one.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I feel it.
This
That's the only channel to go through.
That's the only channel to go. This is how our government involvement in our sport has basically ruined it for the past 30 years. Which is, I mean, the previous podcast here, I mean, I mentioned it. I said if you look back, since the Jaya 94 program, which is when all of this started, you know, no, the Jaya 98 program, which began in 1994. So exactly about 30 years since then, which was the first regimented program to prepare athletes for the 98 Commonwealth Games. You know, that was when government started taking charge and running national programs, getting the athletes and funding them.
Investing,
It's not even an investment. It's a burden now.
Oh yeah, now.
It's a burden now. The sports have not grown since then. And if you look back, since 94, the first Olympics, since then we won 1 silver and 1 bronze.
Yeah.
30 years later, after more than 100 billion ringgit spent, our results at the Olympics is basically the same.
Yeah.
One
No
at the last
improvement.
Olympics, 1 silver, 1 bronze.
Yes.
There's no. Is it because there's no long-term projection?
No, it's because when what the government does is they've created monopolies. They've created monopolies. Sport is not about monopolies.
Yeah.
You have to be competitive.
Yeah.
You have to be. You want to run a development program. It cannot be just the government.
That's
If
true.
to develop athletes, you must come under the government program.
That's true.
No. It has to be all the clubs, everybody contributing, developing and competing together, you know, to produce the best talents. It has to be an open market. You cannot have monopolies like this. This is what has destroyed our sports development. And if you look at what is happening now, this is what the sports ministry under Hanayo is not. They're not going to what you call this, to look at this as an issue. They are looking to extend further this vicious cycle. You know, they are going to sustain this vicious cycle. They're going to maintain the same concept of monopolies. You know?
But isn't it because like we don't have, I guess in terms of private, right?
Yeah.
Where I guess clubs, we don't really have the, I guess the budget or like the funding, and that's the reason why we ask.
You look at sponsors. You know. When you look, we look at motorsports. I give you an example. Motorsports. The government backs, the government funds this program ZK Racing under SIC. Funds them a few million a year, probably 7 million or something this year. Okay, and that's a monopoly. You know, only they produce the. It becomes a monopoly because. Who else has the wants
money
to invest to compete against a program run by the government? Yeah.
Since you have mentioned KBS and NIU, I have 2 important questions. Not only by me, but Rakyat also wants to know. What was the factor behind the government's decision to forego the privilege of hosting it? And how much did the criticism of sports commissioner affected or influenced the decision?
No, I mean the sports commissioner for the first time, I think since Tan Sri Elias Omar, since the late Tan Sri, I think we have a good sports commissioner who is actually doing his job.
Nice.
Of calling out all this, you know.
Right.
This is what we need. This is a proper sports commissioner. If whether it impacted or not, we don't know. But looking at how the outcome of such what happened to all those who spoke up before him, you know, I fear for his future in his position. You know, he might be transferred out for
removed
for speaking out. You know, but hopefully that doesn't happen. You know,
but like talking about KBS, right? Because I was into the skateboarding on the SEA Games, kind of like a qualifier, right? So we have this like problem in terms of like inside the people that inside the I guess it's called a Skate Maya Federation, right? Which is the one that handles extreme sports in terms of.
Is that skateboard under Tan Sri Darshan Singh?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, then
So we're like always stuck in this levels because the guy inside doesn't even understand what is extreme sport in terms of skateboarding, in terms of inline, how this development going. So when they were sending the athletes, which is skateboarders, the first time they were sending skateboarders to SEA Games, they don't have an actual development, they don't have an actual training. This is what I heard from them, right? And they don't have. That's what happened to. I guess it's viral back in 2016, where a girl skateboarder that can't perform was like, and everybody kept on like criticize. What is this? They should be they shouldn't be sent. This girl, etc. But because it's not because of her, it's because of the development of like the duration between from practicing, from training into going to the SEA Games, right? So the question is like, why can't we have an actual, I guess, people inside the government that actually knows about the stuff and what they're doing, right? Why it has to be
they will never know what they're doing, but of course they will have to pretend to know. When that's the problem. It's not a problem with the. It's actually a problem with the association, who are supposed to be the main stakeholders in the sport.
But why does this keep happening? That's the.
Okay, that's what I told you. This is a trend which began in 1994. Not a trend, a cancer, which began in 1994. You see, what happened was the government started funding programs supposedly to prepare athletes for the Commonwealth Games. So there, funding came easily. Became easier for the sports association.
Yeah.
So
I get.
over 3 or 4 decades, fast forward 3 decades, the associations became not only dependent, they became subservient to the system.
Wow.
By the ease of having government fund.
Right.
So under this system, it's convenient for the associations to just hold position and then
Get the fund.
just get the funding from the government rather than industrializing their sports and commercializing and making and expanding, growing their sports to make it a business that's actually of benefit to the nation rather than being, I'm sorry to say, just parasites. So this is the system that has elevated also the role of the sports minister. You go to any sporting nation, I don't know, you've probably traveled to to Europe. Or even if you read the news, do you know who the sports minister of Brazil is? Do you know who the sports minister? The
person in charge of each FA, yes. Sport minister, no.
Even the guy in charge, the president of the FA of England. Do you know who it is?
No.
You rarely
hear about it.
Because the what takes precedence in a sporting nation is the sport. The athletes, the industry around it, the people who actually
the contributions
involved in it.
Not
the sports minister. The sports minister, the government are there to
support,
to become a support system.
That's all.
If you need, we want to grow the sport, we build the facilities. We build the facilities, but we are already spending taxpayers' money on it. We don't need to put our children or our relatives in charge of
friends,
the
associates
that built with government funds. So this is what this is all. This is why I say this is a cancer that began in 1994, and we are stuck in this vicious cycle. What is happening now is that every year, all these associations can do is, okay, we submit a budget
Mhm.
to the government. Okay, the government needs to fund everything is dependent and limited by how much money they get from the government. Apart from a few sports lah.
Yeah.
No, apart from probably badminton, basically I think they can do without government funding, but they are reluctant to do it. You know,
That's true.
Why hand over your sport to politicians
Yeah.
who exactly, as you mentioned just now,
Yeah.
seem like they don't know what they are
Exactly.
doing? Why hand over the power to them when, if you grow your sport, if you industrialize your sport,
Yeah,
you
make it-
raise funds, you raise your own funds, you know, you bring in your own sponsors, and you become a contributor to the GDP instead of taxing the government.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So this is not happening
Yeah.
in most sports.
It's true though, because
yeah.
because of the funding, because in terms of extreme sport, right? Because I'm into extreme sport, not really understanding about others, but because we are kind of lack of that help from the government,
No,
right?
you see, the other thing is why IOC went towards skateboarding in
Yeah.
the Olympics, and if you see
Yeah.
surfing is also going to be part of the this year's Olympics.
This
No.
year, correct?
The IOC were moving more towards these sports is because they are more independent.
Correct.
You know, the skateboarders are on the world stage. They're more independent.
Correct. Correct.
They're not tied to government programs. Same as surfers, they're all
Exactly. Independent. You're right.
independent. These are independent sports. You know,
Yeah.
where the athletes are industries on their own.
Mm.
They don't need. You don't need to be backed by government programs or whatever. You grow by yourself. You know.
But I feel like
So-
in terms of going in Malaysia, in terms of going there, it's and competing, because we had one of actually this year we had like I think 5 athletes in terms of skateboarding that went into they qualify for Olympics qualified, right? That the problem is like it's too expensive in terms of you have to pay around like 10,000
10,000 is
in terms of just a stay, right? And then you need to have the like funding for registration, right? I feel like in terms of that, because talking about skateboarders, not a lot of us are kind of have the self-sustained, like well-maintained, I guess, life, right? But a lot of us are just independent, like how you said, right? And to bring, I guess, like a team or whatever, in terms of like my side, right? The one that we need is actually just a little bit of recognition from the government to fund us to just go there, or like, because in terms of development or whatever, we can do that, right? Because
I can tell you, once you start getting money from the government, that's the end of. That's usually the end of your career, because then you are under the control of these guys
government.
who you, as you said, seem like they don't know what they're talking about. When in fact, actually, that is the case. They don't really know what they're doing. So what you should do is you look at the whole industry of skateboarding. There are opportunities for you to grow,
build,
to grow on your own. The same way you look at badminton now. You tell me, does Glizija as a professional? I mean, he earns easily R1 million, more than R1 million a year
annually
in his prize money, and he's not even the top ranked badminton player.
Right.
I mean, you tell me, does the government actually have to have such players
in the team
under contract and paying for funding them? Funding them somehow.
I would say the sports community is quite disappointed with what's happening with Glizija.
I mean, and you should look at the whole picture as well. It's not only his fault. He was being hounded by BAM as well. That was a joke, you know. That was a joke. A player who wants to turn professional,
Yeah.
and you make him your
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Then what do you want him to be? Stay under your program and be funded by the government forever?
Right.
I mean that is the way all badminton players should be going. Badminton is a huge industry already.
Yeah.
If you look at the past 5 years, the past decade, you see, you can look at the women's game especially. You look at the Forbes list of the richest athletes. For decades, the top 10 have always been dominated by tennis players.
Yeah.
But in the past 5-6 years, you have seen PV Sindhu
Yeah.
making top 5.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So you can see badminton, there is money
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
There is
yeah.
money there. You don't need to. What BAM and the government needs to realize is they cannot be in control of the athlete. They
Yeah.
should not be in control of the athletes. You know, after all, they are spending taxpayers' money. They're funded by us, by the people. You know, so what all you need to do is prepare. Is just be sincere. You know,
Yeah.
just be sincere. We want to produce world-class
That's the
badminton
thing,
players.
though.
You bring them up to a certain level, they're ready to become professional. Let them go, you know. Let them go. We look at the next players, you know. You look at the next players
Yeah.
instead of, I'm sorry to say again, just being parasites.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they had Lee Chong Wei
Right.
for
Yeah. God knows how many years.
for 10, 20 years, okay, we've got Lee Chong Wei. Oh, badminton is okay. You know, they milk the whole Chong Wei.
Basically,
Gravy
Chong Wei has rescued our country for a while.
Yeah.
They milk the whole Chong Wei thing for until Chong Wei couldn't play anymore. Okay, then
That's where the problem started.
then you realize, okay, where's the next Chong Wei?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Back to our topic.
Yeah,
Jarnas. The bottom line here,
yeah,
foregoing the privilege to host Commonwealth Games.
yeah.
The right call?
Yeah, of course.
Did we lose or gain?
I don't think we lost anything. We, in fact, I think we saved a few ringgit. You know.
Okay.
But doesn't it like it will bring like more tourists comes, you know, in terms of, you know,
Okay.
There's going to be another whole discussion here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then if that was actually the case, then 1998 games would have been overwhelming success commercially, but the accounts had never been closed.
really?
Sucom 98, the company that had
Oh, really?
the accounts had never been closed.
Wow.
You know, so why?
Right.
Why?
One day we have to discuss about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
citation of
Yeah, of
bringing
course.
tourists,
Oh,
outsiders.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Of course, politicians, when they're in power, they will run the narrative. Okay, this whether it was a disaster or not, or it's an overwhelming success. We were fantastic. It was, but then you realize 20 years later, this was actually a disaster as well. You know?
Qodeem, what do you think?
Yeah.
Was it the right call?
Yeah.
I feel like it's the right call right now
Right now.
because our government kind of in the like in a crisis recovery mode in terms of, because we are lacking every single thing, right? In terms of our money is now going down again, right? In terms of our living, right? We're not really, our people must, it's not just that, we need to focus on our road too, right? I feel like our road itself, like we need to help, you know, in Sabah, Sarawak, in terms of that. Like because we can save a few ringgit that can help the people, you know, our country.
Yeah.
And it's not just about that. Rather than I guess like our brother said, like rather than, you know, hosting, why not we just produce, use that money to produce athletes so that you can become like how
Competitive.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
One last question,
Yeah.
Jarnas, before we conclude this. Okay. I realized that after the decision of the government, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say no one credited the government because of the decision or what, but it was just reported.
Yeah.
Okay, government said no to this. That's it. Do you think government deserves credit for that? Because the media also didn't react. Even in fact, Guardian said that Malaysia called off. Another bad news for Commonwealth. That's it. Do you think government deserves some credit for making the right call?
Well,
Or
it's their job to make the right call. You know, why do you need to credit them for everything? You know, they're just politicians who are being paid by us to do a job. You know, so okay, good. You made the right decision. But then you look at how many wrong decisions they made.
Okay.
Why are they running away from all the wrong decisions they made? Like with regards to the pitch and all this, you know.
Okay. I think with that,
but just talking about sincerity, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess we are lacking in that sincere. How, in terms of this next generation, that we make sure that this sincerity is with us, so that our country can get better, our government can be more sufficient, right? So any I guess like kind of
no, I think it's just
right?
like Arnaz said just now. They need to play the support system role. It's not there. It's not there.
They're not. The government's role in sports initially was to be a support system. If we needed, okay, you can see motorsports is big, is growing big. There's a lot of interest in motorsport. You should be building circuits around the country, more circuits around the country, not spending millions on development program, which has already been run by the industry.
Which has already been injected as well.
The industry has grown organically and is capable of developing the talents. Why does the government need to fund this? You know, instead of doing their job and providing for when you build facilities, it's for everybody. When you run a program like that, people start talking. Hey, this fella is a crony. You know? That's how he gets the fund instead of everybody else. You know.
Talking about crony, right? Because like in competition, where this like I'm not sure this is the facts or but whenever like a government does any competition, right? When someone's deserved to win, so it doesn't win, and it's always be like, because this is crony, like this is like this guy has a cable, so that from these judges and etc. So it kind of like defeat the whole competitions, right? Because of the crony, right? So because government funding, and then this guy the people that compete inside there kind of have like cables etc. Kind of defeats in terms of competition, right? Because this is kind of funny because you said like how we have this crony, how do you say cronyism? Right? Like and so it's a very sad thing that we have this in terms of like everything has to be
that
right.
Is how our whole life, our whole society operates. You know.
Janas, your message?
My message. I mean, we look at the situation now. What we need in our sports is basically reform, and we were hoping that this government actually comes in with
reformasi.
With reform,
Right, an actual reformasi.
Actual reforms, but instead, it's sad to say, all that Hanayo is doing is maintaining the status quo and just sustaining the old habits, you know, and probably make in some instances she is probably even doing worse than those before her. You know? So
Maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope.
I feel like it's always have hope. It's just in terms of how we bring the hope faster.
The hope should be that the government realizes
Yeah.
that the mistakes
Yeah.
of the past 30 years are what
Yeah, yeah.
has ruined our sport. So instead of trying to control the narrative, telling people, oh, you can't say this failed, you can't say that failed. We actually achieved success. We were successful here, successful there, and then coming up with funny ideas, not having targets, so that the athletes are not under pressure. When actually that all that is down to the minister.
Yeah,
So you know. We have to be exactly sincere. We have to call a spade a spade. If we fail, it's not wrong in sports. It's about failure and getting up and improving yourself.
That's what sport is.
That's what sports is about.
Exactly.
Before it was ruined by these politicians.
Yeah.
So we are okay with failure, but we have to realize, we have to show that there is a will to improve rather than deny.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what we need. We need
more private. Yeah, right. I should.
Reformasi.
Reformasi sports. Right.
So I think next time we should explore a topic on this. Sports reformasi.
Yes.
What is being done? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, guys. I think with that we can conclude our podcast for this episode.
Right.
I think we have plenty to talk and plenty of episodes to come.
Right. Thank you,
especially
Arnaz.
after a good chat with Arnaz.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you guys, and hope to see you all later in the future. Okay.
Right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.